On News Hour tonight, China, ECOWAS support Nigeria against U.S. military threat. ASU shuts down academic activities at Umar Musa Yar'Adua University. And away from Nigeria, Tanzania partially restores internet access, warns against image sharing. Hello, good evening and welcome to News Hour on Trust TV. I am Dorcas Yakubuzala. A diplomatic tension between Nigeria and the United States continues to deepen, with China, the National Assembly and diplomats backing Nigeria's sovereignty. U.S. President Donald Trump's comments accusing Nigeria of genocide and threatening military action have drawn strong criticism from government officials, lawmakers and diplomats. Our correspondent reports on the growing push for unity and restraint amid rising global concern.
The Nigerian Senate says Trump's genocide allegation is false and based on outdated reports. During Tuesday's plenary, Senate President Godswill Akpabio reminded lawmakers that matters of foreign policy require close coordination between the legislature and the executive. He said Nigeria's diversity must remain a source of strength, not division.
Quotation is meant to cause diplomatic row. It is the presidency that will answer President Trump, and all Nigerians are doing their best in that direction.
You did wrong, but you didn't say it. That's correct. You didn't say it.
Yes.
But what
I'm saying is that
you shouldn't be scared of saying anything.
No. If you want me to say it now, I will try to say.
We're not scared of Trump.
I will say, but then listen.
We're a sovereign nation. We're not scared of Trump.
I can only say what is discussed.
And he's saying lies about our country. What he's saying about our country is not correct. And we have the right to dispute what he said.
Nigeria's Foreign Affairs Minister Yusuf Tuga also dismissed Trump's claims. Speaking in Berlin, Tuga said the Nigerian constitution guarantees freedom of religion, adding that no group is being targeted for persecution. He reaffirmed the government's commitment to human rights and the rule of law.
Nigeria's constitutional commitment to religious freedom and rule of law. All the answers are in there. And this is what guides us. And this is what shows that it's impossible for there to be a religious persecution that can be supported in any way, shape or form by the government of Nigeria at any level.
Reacting to the threat of military intervention and suspension of U.S. aid, Chief of Defense Staff General Olufemi Oluyede said Nigeria is fighting terrorism, not religious conflict. He urged the international community to avoid misrepresenting Nigeria's security realities.
There are no Christians being persecuted in Nigeria. Well, we are facing insecurity, especially terrorism, and it's something that's been affecting Nigeria for quite some time. But as a group, talking about security heads, we've been doing our very best to checkmate this act of terrorism within the space of Nigeria.
On the diplomatic front, China has voiced firm support for Nigeria's sovereignty. Beijing is warning against the use of religion or human rights as pretext for foreign interference, stressing that Nigeria's development path must be determined by Nigerians themselves. Former ambassador to China Baba Ahmed in Jeddah says Beijing's position reflects the trust built through years of economic and political cooperation.
Whatever that serves your interest and the interest of your people, you go for it. And China has been supporting in Nigeria with many infrastructural projects. I served for 6 years, and I can tell you that China has given us a lot of military support, arms. Vehicle. Boko Haram. They sent a lot of military support equipment to get rid of Boko Haram something. The Minister of Foreign Affairs should have been up and doing, and like I said, he should have been a special envoy of the president by now, meeting President Trump and conveying the feelings, the concerns, the worries, the disappointment of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Meanwhile, ECOWAS has joined in rejecting the genocide allegation. In a statement on Tuesday, the regional bloc said terrorist attacks across West Africa, including Nigeria, target civilians of all faiths and should not be mischaracterized as religious persecution. The body called for collective action against terrorism and urged international partners to avoid inflaming tensions. As the diplomatic storm unfolds, Nigeria's allies and regional institutions are rallying behind it, calling for dialogue, unity, and focus on the real threat, which is violent extremism.
Nigeria's economic ties with China have grown into one of Africa's most significant partnerships built on trade, infrastructure, and debt. In 2023, trade between both countries reached about $22.6 billion. By mid-2025, that figure had already crossed $15 billion, or by more than a third from the previous year. Most of that trade flows from China to Nigeria, from machinery and electronics to building materials and consumer goods. On the financial side, Chinese loans to Nigeria now total about $4.3 billion, making up nearly 85% of Nigeria's total bilateral debt. These loans have funded key projects, rail lines, roads, airports, and power infrastructure, all parts of China's Belt and Road strategy in Africa. Analysts say that's why Beijing has every reason to shield Nigeria from U.S. pressure. A strained Nigeria-U.S. relationship could threaten billions in Chinese trade and investment. For China, Nigeria is more than just a customer. It's a foothold in Africa's largest economy, a source of crude oil, and a partner that strengthens Beijing's influence across the continent. But the relationship isn't without concerns. Nigeria's exports to China remain low, creating a heavy trade imbalance and rising debt exposure. Still, both sides continue to describe the partnership as mutually beneficial, one driven as much by politics as by economics. Now, residents of Lagos State have expressed mixed reaction to President Donald Trump's proposed military action in Nigeria over alleged targeted killing of Christians based on their religion. They spoke to Trust TV's Victoria Tokolo, whose report is here presented.
Between Nigeria and the United States is rising after President Donald Trump reportedly designated Nigeria as a country of particular concern for alleged killings of Christians, a move that has triggered serious diplomatic reactions among Nigerians. Lagos residents, particularly members of the legal professions, are divided in their opinions. Some believe that the United States' interest in Nigeria's security situation is not purely humanitarian but economically motivated, given the country's vast natural resources. They argue that President Trump, known for his business background, may have economic interest driving his actions. Others, however, warn that any foreign military interventions could worsen the situation rather than bring lasting peace, stressing that such involvement might further destabilize the country.
To me, Boko Haram knows no religion. Sometimes they bomb even mosque and there will be casualties. So Boko Haram does not know whether Christian or Muslim. They only look for areas to cause havoc, to shed innocent blood. I think that's our motive. It has no religion, either Christianity or Muslim.
It is not what it seems. Donald Trump has other interests. He's a man who is a businessman. He knows we have a lot of resources which he probably wants to tap into by subterranean means. And we don't want that kind of subterranean means we don't need to encourage him to continue. And that is why we must do diplomatically. Look, if you want to come to this place to assist us, if you engage us, we should talk.
It doesn't need to come in because of economic benefits. No. He's actually telling the Nigerian government that there's so much he can do to hurt Nigeria economically if the interests of the Christians are not really looked after or they are not protected, and the government is being docile about those actions. Because first of all, the man in power is a Muslim. His wife is a Muslim, and when issues of genocide is brought is brought up to the table, and they don't ask first. Rather, they look at it as if it's one of those off incidents that you just look at and okay, try and make peace with the people, but it's a continuous thing on a daily basis.
Maybe the help is needed, but not in such intervening capacity as to demean the sovereignty of Nigeria as a nation. Nigeria is a sovereign nation. It's a democratic state governed by laws and operational laws. Although we can go ahead to question the effectiveness of these laws and all, but not to the point where there is an intervening third party in a sovereign state affair.
Therefore, urging the U.S. government to engage with Nigerian authorities and explore diplomatic solutions before taking any punitive or military measures, warning that unilateral actions could endanger innocent lives.
In other news, amidst deepening internal wrangling and uncertainty, the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, Umar Musa Yar'Adua University chapter, has shut down all academic activities in the institution. Early Monday morning, students were ordered to vacate the university premises within 1 hour until further notice. In Katsina, Trust TV's Abdullahi Yamadi reports.
The 2-week warning strike declared by the union has brought academic activities to a halt, an unprecedented development since the institution's establishment in 2006. The once vibrant Umar Musa Yar'Adua University community now echoes silence as internal crises deepen and further compound the state's educational challenges. Students, some preparing for graduation and others hoping to progress in their studies, were suddenly ordered to leave the campus, a situation many described as shocking and unfair. They lamented that the internal crisis had been brewing for months, blaming authorities for neglecting ASU's demands and allowing the situation to deteriorate into what they called unavoidable disruption.
Because as you can see now, we are going to start exams on 17th, but this strike may delay the exams and many issues, and we are into another situation whereby there is inflation of anything. Whenever you buy an item today, tomorrow it will inflate by many of resources. So definitely this strike will affect the stability of the student, their parent, and even the future of the student, the university, and the Katsina state at large.
Basically, I'm not happy. Actually, I'm not happy because we are about to graduate, and then this strike will cost a lot to us. It will cause so many distractions in our studies.
I'm not happy about it at all because we are finishing in the next 26 days, inshallah.
Honestly, it's a bad news to all students of Umar Musa Yar'Adua. I want to call the government, Katsina State government, to please do what they're supposed to do so that we should come back soon.
Academic inconsistencies following the recent nationwide ASU strike, coupled with this local crisis, have further worsened the plight of MU students in their pursuit of quality education. The university, known for its academic excellence and established to bridge educational gaps in Katsina State, now faces a bleak outlook amid complaints of poor funding and administrative lapses. At the moment, both the academic and non-academic unions of the university have vowed to continue the industrial action until all their demands are met.
The reason is that it was for the last 3 weeks, we have an engagement with the Chairman, Governor Council, and the management on the issue of 25 or 35%, and the issue of portal, that Kachima, and the pension scheme. All this we discuss with them, and we give them 3 weeks notice.
Border and the condition of service and the future of our hearing members, as well as the security of our examination and records and autonomy of the university. However, it is regretful to inform you today that none of this agreement and understanding reached have been fulfilled by the state government. Despite our patience, considering that we have been following this issue since 2020, and goodwill leading to granting the government an additional 3 weeks to honor its promise, there has been no meaningful response or actions. This continued nonchalance and disregard on the part of the state government clearly demonstrate a lack of seriousness and responsibility in addressing the plight of our members.
In a statement on Tuesday, the union said the strike was declared in the best interest of sustaining educational standards and safeguarding the future of students studying at the institution. It could be recalled that ASU OMU chapter had earlier issued several warnings before finally embarking on the 2-week warning strike. Katsina residents, reacting to the development, urged all stakeholders to handle the matter with caution to avoid tarnishing the hard-earned reputation upon which the founding fathers built the university. Abdullahi Izumayamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
Nigeria's healthcare crisis is worsening as a strike by the National Association of Resident Doctors enters its 4th day. Services across major federal and state hospitals are crippled, leaving patients stranded and families desperate for help. A dispute over welfare and funding remains unresolved, with both sides refusing to back down. Tante Azal completes the report.
For doctors, this strike is a last resort. The National Association of Resident Doctors, the backbone of Nigeria's tertiary hospitals, says years of neglect have pushed them to the edge. Their 19-point demand list includes unpaid salary arrears, promotion backlogs, implementation of the new consolidated medical salary structure, and release of residency training funds. They also want action on the worsening manpower shortage that's forcing doctors to leave the country in droves.
We're supposed to be discussing how the government is going to take advantage of the reverse medical tourism now happening within Nigeria. People are coming to Nigeria to carry out special procedures, cosmetic surgeries, joint replacement surgeries, and all of that. And you're here discussing the general welfare of doctors. In 2025, people are going closer to universal healthcare coverage, and we are still here discussing welfare. It's sad now. It's really sad. I'll just say we hope, we can just be hopeful, while we stand strong, and then expect that whatever it is from this strike action, when the agreements have been made, when the solutions have been proffered, we'll consolidate and then come up with, implementation tools and evaluation tools, and then carry them out subsequently.
The federal government says it's responding. The Health Ministry confirmed that President Bola Tinubu ordered urgent steps to get doctors back to work. Officials cite the payment of 21.3 billion naira in arrears and plans to release another 11.9 billion naira, along with the recruitment of 14,000 new health workers nationwide. But Dr. Okedinachi says the promises aren't enough. He insists the doctors want implementation and not assurances, warning that the system is bleeding talent faster than it can replace it.
We want to work. We have colleagues that have left the country in droves, in their numbers, and then we are still here. So if we are still here, then what does it take the government? Instead of trying to stop people from leaving, why not take care of those that are here? That will encourage more people to stay back and join the system. So that is what we are looking at, We hope that our pleas will be addressed, itemized as we've itemized them, and then each of them will be looked into and addressed accordingly. Most of these things are not based on finance. That's why when they come to the general public and make it about finance, we laugh. You know, these are things that do not require the government to actually sign out money for most of our demands. These are things that the government just needs to sit down, come up with policies, implement those policies, and come up with proper evaluation systems to review the state of these policies when they've started running. That's all we're asking for.
At the heart of the standoff are the patients, many left waiting in hospital corridors, others turned back after traveling long distances for care. Consultants and house officers are running skeletal shifts, elective surgeries are postponed, and emergency units are overwhelmed.
We made them call the strike because of the innocent one, because some of them no doctor, as doctor no dey. Maybe if in emergency come like this, they no go see doctor. Maybe before them go run up and down, that person don't go. So may government still help us, may them call the strike.
As the strike drags on, lives hang in the balance. The government and doctors remain locked in negotiations, but for ordinary Nigerians, the cost of this impasse is already too high. Tanti Aza, Trust TV, Abuja.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has written to the Senate seeking approval for a fresh 1.15 trillion naira borrowing from the domestic debt market. This borrowing is intended to finance a deficit in the 2025 budget. The president emphasized that the funds will help bridge the fiscal gap and ensure full implementation of government programs and projects planned for the year 2025. The report.
Following the submission, the Senate President referred the borrowing request to the Senate Committee on Local and Foreign Debt, chaired by Senator Aliyu Wamako of Sokoto North. The committee has been given 1 week to review the request and report back for further legislative action.
I write to kindly request for the approval of the National Assembly to establish a 1,150 billion naira, that is 1.150 trillion, borrowing program in the domestic debt market to close the unfunded deficit gap created by the increase in the budget size over and above the prior approved revenue and borrowing plans.
In another development, President Bola Tinubu has appointed Dr. Kingsley Tochukwu Ude San from Enugu State as the new Minister of Innovation, Science and Technology. The appointment comes after the recent resignation of Godfrey Uche Inanji from the same position. In a letter sent to the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, the President requested lawmakers to confirm Dr. Ude's appointment in line with constitutional requirements.
In compliance with the provisions of Section 147, subsection 2 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended, I am pleased to forward to the Senate the nomination of Dr. Kingsley Tochukwu Ude San, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, for confirmation as Minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. While I hope that this request will receive the usual expeditious consideration of the Senate, please accept, distinguished Senate President and distinguished Senators, the assurances of my highest regards. This is signed by Bola Ahmed Tinubu, President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and is hereby referred to the Committee of the Whole for immediate consideration.
Dr. Ude currently serves as the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice in Enugu State.
This is News Hour on Trust TV, coming up after the break. Proposal to raise daily pay to 3,500 naira sparks debate among low-income earners. This and many more when we return. Do stay with us. Welcome back from the break. In case you're just joining, this is News Hour on Trust TV. Let's take a look at our top stories again. China, ECOWAS support Nigeria against U.S. military threat. Moving on to more stories, there was heavy traffic around the National Assembly complex on Tuesday as aggrieved local contractors staged a protest over alleged non-payment of accumulated debt by the federal government. A demonstration which began in the early hours caused a gridlock as staff, visitors and lawmakers struggled to access the complex. The report.
During plenary, the minority leader of the House of Representatives, Kingsley Chinda, raised a motion of urgent national importance on the development. He recalled that the leadership of the House had earlier intervened in the matter and met with President Bola Tinubu, who reportedly directed that all debts owed the contractors be settled. Chinda's motion received overwhelming support from members.
The House further notes that the non-payment of local contractors has worked severe hardship on both the local contractors and indeed the Nigerian populace, and that this has brought tension and increased poverty in our country.
Also contributing, Omadume Palace from Zamfara State moved another motion urging the House to adjourn for 1 week in solidarity with the protesting indigenous contractors. His motion was seconded by the chairman of the House Committee on Rules and Business, Francis Wave. After deliberation, the House adopted the motion and adjourned plenary sessions until next week.
Sitting of plenary should adjourn for 1 week. After 1 week, when we hear from the side of the executives about this issue of non-payment and implementation of 2024-2025 budget, then we will continue sitting, Mr. Speaker.
The contractors promised that during this 1 week they will continue to demonstrate, make this place inconducive for us and inaccessible for us. So we won't be fighting with them at the gate to come in. So it's sensible for us to keep away and give the government, the executive, the opportunity to do the needful.
Motion that been moved by Honorable my Palace and seconded by the Chairman Rules and Business, that based on the fact that the road is blocked by these contractors and that we will not be able to access here easily within the week, that we adjourn till next week to enable us consult with the executive and rectify this within 1 week. Those in support of that motion say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
However, earlier in the day, the House of Representatives went into a rowdy session over which committee should investigate alleged irregularities in the allocation and management of the Lagos International Trade Fair Complex. Lagos lawmaker Ademori Kuye, who moved the motion, proposed that the Committee on Public Assets, which he chairs, should handle the probe. Some lawmakers disagreed, insisting that the Committee on Commerce or an ad hoc committee should take charge. When the motion was put to vote, the nays prevailed, prompting protests from some members and forcing the House into an executive session that lasted about 30 minutes.
Concerned that the master plan for the development of the International Trade Fair Complex have been significantly altered, and land belonging to the federal government is being balkanized by the current management of the complex.
This motion will move the duty of that committee to another committee. So I would strongly suggest that it be referred to the Committee on Commerce.
So the committee presently is on top of it. We have started work, we have been there, and we are still going back for this same purpose. So for us now to say that we relegate this work we have done so far to another committee who is not responsible for this, that means you are taking away our duties from us.
For a joint committee, however, since it's an issue bordering on the assets, which is the sale of land, the Committee on Public Assets takes the lead. Then, being the fact that it has to do with the purview of the Committee of Commerce, which is trade fairs and exhibitions, it will have the Committee on Commerce to equally support.
Section 10, sub 2 has not been activated at all. So I will ask the question. Based on the original motion, those in support of the motion say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. Aye. The nays have it.
Meanwhile, the Green Chamber will convene for plenary on Wednesday, November 5th, contrary to its earlier decision to adjourn sittings until next week, Tuesday. The change follows positive developments from government engagements addressing issues behind the earlier adjournment, including contractors' protests and the non-release of funds under the 2024-2025 budget. In an internal memo issued Tuesday evening, Clerk of the House, Yahaya Danzaria, informed lawmakers of the new sitting date. According to the communication, the early resumption will enable House leadership to brief members on progress made in resolving the issues and other matters of national importance. At Wednesday's plenary, the House is expected to formally rescind its earlier adjournment resolution to allow proceedings to continue. The leadership has urged all members to make necessary arrangements to be in attendance.
The Department of State Services has dismissed more than 100 of its personnel as part of what it calls ongoing reforms in the agency. In a public notice posted on its website, the DSS confirmed that 115 officers were disengaged between 2024 and 2025. The service also released the names and photographs of those affected, warning the public not to engage them in any official capacity. According to the statement, the move is part of effort to sanitize the service and strengthen professionalism within its ranks. The Arewa Consultative Forum ACF says the alarming number of out-of-school children, insecurity, and lack of industries in northern Nigeria require urgent and collective action. The forum stated this during a courtesy visit to Media Trust Group in Abuja as part of activities marking its 25th anniversary. The report.
With millions of children still out of school and insecurity worsening across the north, the Arewa Consultative Forum says it is time to find lasting solutions through collaboration and renewed leadership. Chairman of the forum, Bashir Dalhatu Wazir Ndutse, said the ACF is deeply concerned about the plight of out-of-school children and is advocating for cottage industries to empower communities across the region.
We are, however, also propagating to our people good manners and behavior and how best to maintain a fairly well-to-do family unit so that together we can grow out of this perennial problem of poverty, unemployment, the problems of so many millions of children. The latest count, it varies, but we use 50 million out-of-school children in the north. And this has provided employment ground for people who have no good intentions in our society.
As part of its 25th anniversary celebration, scheduled for the 20th and 21st of November in Kaduna, the forum plans to bring together stakeholders from within and outside the north to critically examine the region's challenges and chart a path forward.
All of you here, individually and collectively, are members of this great region. Membership is open to every son or daughter of Arewa abstraction, provided such a person has attained the biological age of 18.
The Secretary General of the Forum, Alhaji Muritala Aliyu, announced plans to launch a 100 billion naira endowment fund to address critical areas such as education, health, and economic empowerment.
So the endowment fund we are floating is going to be 100 billion. We are building the structure to manage the funds. We are also developing areas of intervention where it will take place, and also how the fund can be sustainable.
Group Chief Executive Officer of Media Trust, Ahmed Shekarou, commended the forum for its renewed commitment to the North's development and pledged the company's partnership in the anniversary and related initiatives.
I want to quickly assure you that we will work with the BOT and the NEC and all other committees, relevant committees, to ensure that this forthcoming 25th anniversary celebration is a huge success. We pledge, this commitment.
The Arewa Consultative Forum's 25th anniversary, holding in Kaduna, is expected to draw leaders, experts, and development partners to design practical solutions for the North's social and economic recovery. The forum says beyond marking a milestone, its 25th anniversary will serve as a rallying point for action to rebuild communities, empower citizens, and secure the future of northern Nigeria.
And the House of Representatives is considering a proposal to raise Nigeria's minimum daily pay for casual and low-income workers to 3,500 naira. For millions who depend on daily jobs to survive, it sounds like relief, but many are asking if it's enough to truly make a difference. Trust TV's Noel Sampson reports.
The proposal comes under the National Integrated Rural Development Bill 2025. The bill seeks to cut poverty and improve rural livelihoods by creating a new agency to coordinate local projects and guarantee 3,500 daily pay for unskilled workers. It also provides a minimum of 100 work days per year, 1/3 of jobs reserved for women, support for agriculture, food security, and rural infrastructure. Across Nigeria, about 60% of workers operate in the informal sector. Laborers, artisans, and petty traders who live on daily income. Most currently earn between 2,000 and 3,000 naira, depending on the location and type of work. At construction sites and motor parks in Abuja, workers told Trust TV that even 3,500 naira might not stretch far enough in today's economy.
For unskilled workers, we pay a minimum of 5,000 AD. For semi-skilled, when you talk about semi-skilled, you're talking about iron benders, masons and carpenters. You pay as much as 10,000 if they are very good, as much as 10,000 a day. But for unskilled laborers, you pay a minimum of 5,000. That's what we usually pay. But even the 3,500 that the House of Reps are trying to pass a bill on, I think is still way below what the average unskilled worker needs to, considering the economic situations we are in the country we are facing right now.
Thank God for my work, but even the 10,000 naira daily pay is not enough. As an iron bender, we are just managing.
Before you finish work, you go don't eat almost 3,000 naira food, and again you go to calculate the transport. And when you reach out again, you know that yes, there's many things for you to do, and you see you end up for the next day. Now you end up you not see the money again. We got a situation, but you know, for this Abuja now, Abuja we dey, I never see the association for this messy work.
For many, 3,500 naira covers only the basics. A plate of food, 800 naira to 1,000 naira. Transport, 700 to 1,200. Small daily expenses, 500 to 800 naira. That leaves little or nothing for rent, savings, or family support. In cities like Abuja and Lagos, where prices are higher, the proposed rates may simply keep workers afloat rather than lift them out of poverty. Economists say the idea is well-meaning, but needs to be backed by broader reforms, with inflation starting at 18.2%. As of October, the real value of 3,500 keeps shrinking.
Oh, so when you say rural community, are they not going to eat in rural community? Will the job be in the person's immediate environment? In as much as there isn't for transportation, there isn't for food, I don't think it will be okay. Perhaps you need to work so that you can save. From save, you can invest. From save, you can actually send your children to school. That simply means that it will only take them, and maybe they are considering an adult who is not married. Because we are talking about married person, that will not be enough, even for a single person, let alone someone who is married, that to cater to 2 or 3 children. I think for people to have more disposable income and more purchasing power, we need to look at that and consider it upward, perhaps 6,000 naira.
Experts say inflation affects everyone equally. A laborer in Kano or Lagos faces the same pressure from food and transport costs. According to respondents, reforms should go beyond the figure. It should focus on improving purchasing power. Noel Sampson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
And now in business, Nigeria's financial markets began November 2025 on a sour note as the naira and equities weakened sharply following remarks by United States President Donald Trump, who threatened possible military action against Nigeria over alleged religious persecution. Data from the Central Bank of Nigeria showed that the naira, which had traded at a 2025 peak of 1,421 naira 73 kobo to a dollar, depreciated to 1,436 naira 34 kobo to a dollar on Monday, marking a 1.03% decline or 14 naira 61 kobo loss in one day. The currency also weakened at the parallel market to 1,455 naira to a dollar, reflecting increased investor anxiety and foreign exchange demand pressure. The sudden depreciation followed a weekend of heightened geopolitical tension after Trump, via his Truth Social platform, labeled Nigeria a country of particular concern and directed the U.S. Department of War to prepare for possible action should alleged killings of Christians persist. According to Trump, the move was a response to what he described as a Christian genocide in Nigeria, a claim that sparked global debate and uncertainty about diplomatic and economic implications for Africa's largest economy. And away from Nigeria, Tanzania has partially restored internet access after a 6-day shutdown following deadly protests that erupted on Election Day. Mobile users received warning messages on Monday night, cautioning against sharing photos or videos that could cause panic, with violators facing treason charges. The internet blackout was imposed amid unrest over a disputed October 29th election in which President Samia Suluhu Hassan was declared winner with over 97% of the vote after opposition candidates were barred. Human Rights Watch and the Catholic Church have condemned the violent crackdown, with opposition figures alleging over 1,000 deaths, though official figures are yet to be released. President Hassan acknowledged loss of life during her swearing-in and urged security agencies to restore calm. Life is slowly returning to normal in Dar es Salaam and Dodoma as shops reopen and public transport resumes. Human Rights Watch has called for accountability and the full restoration of internet access, describing the restrictions as a violation of freedom of expression. It's now time for sports updates with Kabir Lawal.
The Confederation of African Football has announced that video assistant referee will be used in the 2026 Continental FIFA World Cup playoff later this month. Nigeria will resume their hunt for a 2026 World Cup ticket when they face Gabon in the playoff semi-final on Thursday, November 13 in Rabat, Morocco. The Super Eagles finished the playoff in Group C but made the playoff by virtue of being one of the best second-place teams. They will compete in the 4-team tournament alongside Gabon, DR Congo and Cameroon, with the winner of the Nigerian-Gabon tie facing the victor of DR Congo-Cameroon clash. The introduction of VAR for the playoff marked a significant change from the main qualifiers when the technology was not employed in any game. The development could prove crucial for Nigeria as every decision will now be scrutinized by match officials. For instance, Calvin Bassey's goal for Nigeria against South Africa in the return leg would have been cancelled for handball had VAR been in use. Still on sport news, the FIFA Appeal Committee has rendered its decision on the appeals lodged by the Football Association of Malaysia FAM and 7 players against the decision issued by the FIFA Disciplinary Committee for breaches of Article 22 of FIFA Disciplinary Code (FDC) concerning forgery and falsification. The players are Gabriel Felipe Arocha, Facundo Gracias, Rodrigo Olgado, Emmanuel Machucha, João Fadrigo, John Isabel Irego, and Hector Serrano. After analyzing the submissions and conducting a hearing, the appeal committee decided to dismiss the appeals, ordered FAM and the 7 players to pay a fine of CHF 350,000 naira, which is equivalent to $835 to FIFA. That's Sport News. I am Kabir Lawal.
And that's a wrap on News Hour. Do not forget to follow us across all social media platforms for more programs, news, and documentaries. I am Dorcas Yakubuzala. Thank you for watching.